And the first time I was able to use that advantage, oh my god, I was so grateful for being an amputee. Like, hello everyone, let me welcome you to the life of an amputee. My name is Sabah, and if you are new here, I welcome you wholeheartedly. And if you are a return viewer, I say thank you for sticking with me. And this is April, and it's the Limb Loss Awareness Month. And in honor of this month, I'm going to be listing a few things that I love about being an amputee. Today, I'm going to be listing out the silver lining from my end. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm going to start from the very beginning, from my childhood. I've been an amputee since I was about 5 years old. I had my accident when I was 4 years old, and I'm a below knee amputee. So it's been a while. Okay, so the very first thing I like about being an amputee at that young age, in retrospect, is the fact that my parents were less strict with me. As a child tends to be naughty, and all of that. You want to be mischievous, and you know, because I'm an amputee, my parents are not as strict with me as they were with my sibling, and that sort of gave me the freedom to like explore, and it's really nice. I mean, you get the pass for most things. So while other children are scared and being restricted, I had the freedom to explore, and I was able to develop my own personality without so much interference, sort of. So yeah, that's the very first thing that worked for me, and I'm so grateful for that, because if not for my amputation, I would not have so much freedom, and I mean, my personality may not be this cool. So yeah, a win is a win. Another advantage of being an amputee. Okay, so I went to boarding house for my secondary school education. I went to Federal Government College here, and it's a boarding house for male and female students. And because I'm an amputee, I use a prosthesis, and all the seniors know that. So they were less mean to me compared to other students. So they don't send me on errands as much. Very few people send me on errands, and I go when I feel like going. Sure, you get. So seniors were less mean to me, teachers were less mean to me. And because I'm smart also, so those two things worked together, and let's just say I'm favored, really. So yeah, boarding house was a breeze. A federal boarding house in Nigeria, for that matter, it was a breeze for me. And a huge part of that is because I use a prosthesis and I am an amputee. And people tend to give you this pity look, and they tend to pity you and all of that. But you can make it work in your favor. So yes, it's a win. Okay, so another advantage is that okay, so after I left secondary school, I came into the university, and another advantage I was able to get from being an amputee was that when they do hostel allocations in my school, the hostel is not enough for the students, so some people have to live outside the school. But living in the school is a lot more comfortable, yeah, for most people. So being an amputee sort of like gave me a leverage. When they are doing hostel allocation, they give preference to physically challenged people. So that means that means that I get hostel every time I like put in a request. It might take a while, but eventually you're going to get accommodation, and that is so beautiful. Like the first time I was able to use that, it's not a crooked thing, it's like legal. And the first time I was able to use that advantage, oh my god, I was so grateful for being an amputee. Like, it was so nice. I was like, so because I'm missing a leg, I get accommodation. Oh my god, without stress. Sign me in. Okay, so leaving school life out of it now, let's talk about real life. One of the good thing about being an amputee is the fact that it acts like a filter, sort of. So it filters most of the players, like men that just want to use you for fun and they have no good intention. It sort of like filters them off. And at the end of the day, you get men with genuine intention, most men with genuine intention, because some people are still But at least most most men are going to be like, okay, she's going through enough. Let me not add to her misfortune. So yeah, that's another silver lining. So I never had to, okay, maybe once, but I never really had to deal with all these heartbreaks and all of that. Yeah. So and that makes me a lot picky. I got very very picky when I'm choosing someone to get into a relationship with. I get very picky because you know I have options and they are good options, and I'll be like, okay, out of all these good options, what is the best option for me? So amputation gave me that, and I'm forever grateful. Really. Okay. So apart from the fact that you know, everything I've mentioned. Another thing is that a lot of people pity you. And, you know, I think that's just how our society works, especially if you live in Africa. A lot of people give you this pity look like, hey, yeah, or well, sort of thing. And it makes you feel awkward. But as a long time amputee, I've been an amputee for about 20 years now, and I've had my fair share of pity you know, and all of that. So I've grown a thick skin, and those things don't really bother me anymore. But as a new amputee, yeah, it bothers me a lot. But now, I'm an experienced amputee, so I make it work for me. I make all the pity look work for me. So, um, when I'm carrying a heavy stuff or um doing something uncomfortable, and people are like, hey, yeah, let me help you do this. I happily let them help me because I'm not made for stress. I mean, it's evidence. I am not. I am not made for stress. So anytime anybody volunteer to help, I let them. And you know, that's another thing that I like about being an amputee. So now, instead of it being a disadvantage and being a bad thing, I make it a good thing. Just like when they say, when life give you lemon, make lemonade. Check it. But a lot of times I wear clothes that conceals my prosthesis. So a lot of people don't even know I use a prosthesis. So, but when I need help, I get help. Alhamdulillah. So yeah, that's that. Have I told you about the numerous scholarship opportunity available to you just because you are losing a limb? There are scholarship opportunities for amputees, for people on wheelchair, for the blind, for the deaf. Just be someone with a physical impairment, and the list just goes on and on. Of the list of scholarship just goes on and on. And personally, I've been opportuned to get one scholarship in my school simply because I'm an amputee, and I have that story, the amputation story, and everything I've been through. And that gave me leverage. And I was able to enjoy the scholarship for about 3 years. And yeah, that's another thing. So if you think being an amputee is all bad, maybe you should see this and have a rethink. Okay, so I'm not supposed to be telling you all of this, but really, being an amputee makes you stand out. You are not boring. You are not like everybody else. You get to have a cool leg. You can change your running blade. You can change your leg to a running blade. You can choose to wear heels. You can choose to wear flats. I mean, you can be really cool. And when you go for interviews and something like this comes up, and they're like, "Tell me more about yourself," or "What is an exciting thing about yourself," or "One thing you think we should know," blah blah blah. I mean, you don't have to think too far. You're an amputee. You have a story behind it. It was an accident, it was diabetes, it was congenital, I was born with it. One thing or another, you are using a prosthesis, and that is extremely cool. And do you know your prosthesis can have different functions? Well, now you know. So, the next time somebody is making fun of you, or you're thinking, what would people say? I'm an amputee, they've cut off my leg, they cut off my arm, blah blah blah. Please remember that behind every bad ordeal, there is always a silver lining. try to look for your own silver lining, and you'll be surprised. It could turn your life around 360 degrees, really. And you'll be surprised, really. Okay, so this brings me to the end of this episode. And if you'd like to hear more from me, please subscribe, like this video, share this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.